All right. So if you want, open it up with me. Go to classwork, go to assignments. It's called Structure a Research Paper. All right. So first step, you're going to create a Word document and you're going to insert all the sources you found and all the sources your friends found and put under your topic. You're going to create them into the bibliography using the references function in Microsoft Word. You're all familiar with this. You all know how to do this. We discussed this last time. So you fill it in the bibliography. Next step, I want you to create a table of contents and as detailed a table of contents as possible. So if it's introduction, it should have subheadings underneath it. So for instance, because right now virtual tourism is in front of me, the introduction, then for instance, the importance of virtual tourism, tourism during COVID era, the premises of the paper, the shortcomings, the research methodology of the paper. As much as you can, subheadings under each heading. So we call them levels. First level is your heading, second level subheading, third level even subheading beyond that. So if you can reach 3 levels, especially on the middle of your paper, we need to do that. Why do we do this? Because once we create a detailed table of contents, it becomes so much easier to structure the paper. So this is what we're going to do. You're going to create the table of contents, and again, use the function in Microsoft Word, which you can create table of contents, because that way, when you put headings, they actually link back to the table of contents, and the table of contents will update the page numbers automatically. Okay? So use the Microsoft Word function for table of contents. Now, once you have all the table of content detailed, this is the next step. You're going to take each source by source. So the first source you looked at, all the quotes you have from that source. I want you to put a mini heading for each quote. So for instance, the quote is about the power of virtual tourism. The quote is about the benefits of internet or the shortcomings of immersive tourism. Give each quote a heading so that when you look at it, you can immediately read the heading and know where it goes. You're going to put a heading on each quote for all the source. Then you're going to take that quote and look. So what you'll do is you'll take your table of contents, put the headings down in the Word document. So your Word document is going to be front cover, table of contents, then a lot of blank pages with the headings themselves and the subheadings listed inside it. And just put enter after the headings. Just leave it empty. Just put all the headings, and at the end your bibliography or your list of references. Okay? Now we take each source and we put the quote under the heading it fits the most. So for instance, if you found a heading about how many people use virtual tourism, or a heading about the development or the importance of virtual tourism, that might be in the introduction. So find in the introduction, if you have subheadings, find under which subheading it fits, copy paste it, drop it there. What will happen by the time you finish your 6 sources which you and your friends collected for each subject? You're going to end up with at least 1 to 3 quotes for each heading in your paper. Okay? And with a little explanation. Once you do that, what we start doing is, this will tell me, so for this subject, for this subheading, I don't have enough resources. I don't have enough sources. I need to find more for this subheading. So I go and I find another source for the subheading, and I put the quotes in again. Once this is done, and you'll know it's finished when every heading and subheading has at least 1 to 5 quotes and paraphrases under it. What you'll end up with is something like an 8-page or 6-page paper that just has a bunch of quotes under the headings. But now when you come to write the paper, you actually have your thoughts fully organized. Everything is in its place. Everything is perfectly organized, perfectly set up. The steps after that will be, we go for each quote, under each heading, we write 3 lines of our own writing based on that heading. So for every subheading, every heading, we write 3 lines, 3 lines, 3 lines, 3 lines across the whole paper. The step after that is you write a line before the quote and a line after the quote. When you finish these steps, what you'll end up with is a rough draft of your paper, already finished. All your quotes are in place, all your references are in place, all your citations are in place. And you have a very neat, organized, rough draft. Sounds good?
Yes.
All right, wonderful. Is that all clear? Is there any part of that that doesn't make sense? Your homework for next week is 4 things that you need to do. Create the Word document with the bibliography of all the sources. Create a very detailed table of contents. Use the function in Microsoft Word for the table of contents. Write a heading for each quote or paraphrase you have. So every quote, create a little heading for it. Then copy paste every quote, every paraphrase under the heading it fits. Are these steps all clear?
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Now, the other thing we're going to do, and we won't start next week, we're going to start the week after that, because next week you have this big assignment for it. The week after that, 2 of you will present your paper. So you're going to do an oral presentation. So for that week, I'll assign randomly who's going to go first. We'll do it over 3 weeks. It'll be a graded presentation. Please don't use PowerPoint. I hate PowerPoint. Speak. Make the topic interesting. Sell it to me. This is what we do in academia. When you write papers, you go to a conference, you are going to speak, to present your paper. So you're going to have to start presentations. They'll be a graded part of your paper. Once you have your table of contents, the presentation should be pretty simple. Keep it on your screen, the table of contents, and kind of go through it and talk us through it. The art of presenting is really more about making the topic interesting. And how do I make the topic interesting? By it actually being interesting for me. So since I kept telling you in the beginning, pick subjects you like. If you're excited about the subject, what you want to do is get me equally excited and get your classmates equally excited about the subject. In academia, what we do a lot is write papers, go to conferences, present the paper. And sadly, most professors are usually extremely boring when they present their papers because they read off a PowerPoint. I want you guys to try your best to actually speak. Your presentation has to be a minimum of 5 minutes long. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but actually, when you come to speak in an interesting way, 5 minutes is long. You can go for as long as you like, but it has to be at least 5 minutes long. And what I'd like from the rest of the class during the presentation, we're going to behave as if this is an academic conference, which means take notes while the person's presenting, ask questions, give feedback, ask detailed questions about different parts of the subject, give feedback on different things, tell them where you think they might have difficulty or where you think you can kind of support them or help them with suggestions or ideas. Now, the good thing is, since you've all researched everyone's topics and you know about them, it'll be a little bit easier for you as an audience because you already know something about it. And the final part in the course, of course, will be writing your paper. So, does that all sound good and fair to you all?
Yeah, I think so for me actually. But I can't talk on my colleagues. Maybe someone can want to ask something.